Good morning once again. Koiki Media Live, 28th of October 2023, 4:38 a.m. And I say good morning and welcome once again. As we prepare for the program, I welcome you and I welcome those of you that will be watching this live and those that will watch the replay as well. Mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá káàkiri ibi tí ẹ bá ti láǹfààní àti tún fi gbọ́ wa ní ìdájí. Mo kí wa pé a tún káàbọ̀ sórí ètò Koiki Media. Let's talk about some of the current happenings in Nigeria and why we must continue to highlight some of the reasons why our right to self-determination must happen before it is too late. As I always say, we all have a role to play. I'm only just playing my own, and I'm sure history will remember each and every one of us as we play those roles. Once again, a very good evening for those of you that are still in the other part of the world. Good morning for those of you that are also somewhere in Australia, New Zealand, and likewise in those parts of the globe. Yoruba Nation is a movement, and that movement continue until we achieve our quest and our goal. But while we are waiting for that to happen, we will continue to highlight some of the happenings in Nigeria so that we do not forget that some of these are also reasons why we should be more concerned, especially when it comes to security matters in Nigeria today. So Mokiwa Lenkosi, and I welcome you as I'm preparing to go into the conversation. The Yoruba people are part of what is called Nigeria today. Also, as I always say, check the headline of each of the broadcasts so that it gives you an accurate of what we are discussing. What we are going to discuss this morning is pertaining to the security current situation in Nigeria. The security is getting worse, and it will get worse as well. Good morning, my brother, all the way on the other side of the globe, Kunle Bakers, and welcome once again to those of you that are also logged in. As usual, we are live on multiple platforms. We are live on the channels that we broadcast from. In case you are new to the channel, we go live on TikTok, Instagram, we go live on Facebook, we go live on Twitter Space, we go live on the MixLR, and we go live on all these platforms that are available to us so that we can be able to deliver our message in a way. I always say, Nigeria is going through a lot, but many Nigerians probably are overwhelmed by a lot of what is happening in Nigeria. So they are not even sure what is going on. And this is where, as a media organization, we will continue to highlight all these problems and then link it to the reason why our exit out of Nigeria is meant to be now before it is too late. So, the topic for conversation this morning is going to focus on the 2,168 ex-Boko Haram terrorists that have graduated, according to the federal government, from their rehabilitation program. What does that mean? I mean, if terrorists that have killed many Nigerians, they've destroyed businesses, they've created havoc, and the federal government believes that the best thing to do is to rehabilitate them and then probably allow them to go back into the community. What is your take on this? Do you think you can rehabilitate a terrorist? Do you think that in this 21st century that we hear about terrorists around the world, it is something that can be done? As we always start the program, we'll start with the Yoruba anthem, which indicate that the Yoruba are the most important people around the world. So if you know the anthem, go along with me. Kagbega, kagbega, kagbega faleri. Ìgbàgbọ́ wa ni pé bá ti bẹ̀rù làbọ̀ mọ́. Ká ṣiṣẹ́, ká ṣiṣẹ́, ká ṣiṣẹ́, ká jọlá. Ìṣọ̀kan àtòmìnira ní kẹ́ ká máa lépa. Tẹ̀síwájú fọ̀pọ̀ ire àtòhun tó dára. Ọmọ Oòduà dìde, bọ́ sí ipò ẹ̀tọ́ rẹ. Ìwọ ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo adúláwọ̀. Àwa ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo adúláwọ̀. Once again, mo kí gbogbo àwa tí a ṣì wà ní àsìkò tí a wà yìí. Mo kí wa pé ẹ káàbọ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí sórí ètò wa. Mo kí ya lóde Ìjánà Ọ̀tàfàt Bell. Mo kí ya wa Abíọ́lá Oshin, ẹ káalẹ́, ẹ káàárọ̀, ẹ kúrọ̀lẹ́. Mo kí ẹ̀gbọ́n mi ní Paris, mo dẹ̀ kí Alhaji. Mo kí Masbi ní Benin Republic. Mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá káàkiri. Mr. Wale Ikújèmí, ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò. Ọláyọmí Kóìkí lèmi jẹ́. Koiki Media, bringing the world closer to your doorstep. Terrorist. What do you know by the word terrorist? Baba sọ pé terrorist. What is your own understanding? The word terrorist. I mean, terrorists, as we know, are not good people. They create problems and they have an agenda. Terrorist operation in Nigeria has been going on for some time now. But it seems that the previous administration have left terrorists to operate in Nigeria for a very long time. In the new administration, it will do something different when it comes to the terrorists in Nigeria. We have a new chief of staff. We have new IG, we have new NSA. So we have a new set of security architect that has been put together by the new administration. But the question I'm asking this morning at exactly almost 5 o'clock in the morning at 4:47 a.m. Today is the 28th of October 2023. Can this new administration deal with the terrorist situation in Nigeria? Or are we going to see the same way that the terrorists have operated during the previous administration of Osibajo and Buhari, dead or alive? Many Nigerians today are unable to perform a lot of activities in what is known in Nigeria because of the terrorism that is happening in Nigeria frequently. So that means that many Nigerians are caught up in what is known as today Nigeria. And I'm asking the question, almost 2,168 ex-Boko Haram terrorists, according to the Nigerian government, have now been graduated. That's a big number. These are criminals. Remember, these are terrorists that have killed, destroyed lives, destroy properties. But the government of Buhari put them in what we called rehabilitation, which Bola Tinubu has also have to accept them. So I am now asking you as Nigerians, what is your take on these new activities that 2,168 ex-Boko Haram terrorists have graduated, or they've graduated rather? What do you think is going to happen? Should we just say they've been forgiven, or terrorism here? And now that they've come out to say that we are good guys, should we just accept that and forgive them? I want you to put it in the comment section. Should we forgive terrorists that have massacred and killed many Nigerians? Remember that these were people that were killing you when you travel from point A to B. Remember that these are people that have taken ransom in large quantity. Remember, some of you have lost friends, families. Should we now say that now that they've been given this new rehabilitation, we should forgive them and we should accept them back into the society? What is your take on this? What is your own take? Ṣé ká forgive wọn nítorí pé wọ́n mọ tán ṣe, and we can just move on as well? Let me hear from you in the comment section. What is your take on this? Terrorists now back in the society. Now they are the good guys. They've gone through different programs, and that means that we can accept them back in the society. What is your take? Let me read from the comment section. My name is Olami Koike once again, and I say good morning. I'm going to read a lot from this new article that was published by the Nigerian news agency in less than 48 hours ago. This article was posted on the 26th of October 2023 on the People's Gazette, and you can also read a similar story to the same article on some of the other publications like bear with me. Once again, a good morning and welcome to the... You can also read the same similar publication. All right, let's give this a bit of time to load. All right, Let's go this way. You can read the same similar story on the Daily Post. It's also on the Linda Ikeji blog. You can read it on the Punch newspaper. These are where you can reference the discussion. Ground news, Tory news. So it's on Twitter. So quite a lot of news outlets literally talked about it. Daily Nigerian, PM News Nigeria, the Nation newspaper, the New Telegraph, News Diary Online. So in case you want to reference the discussion. My question is it possible to rehabilitate terrorists and they will come back into the society and we can live with them, we forgive them because they've told us that what they've done is bad, but it was probably through, lack of support from either the previous government or whatever led them to reason why they were committing this crime against humanity. Should we just accept that, this has happened and we should forgive them and allow them to remain in our society rather than in the prison? Maybe we don't have enough prison to keep them. So the only option now is to allow them to return back into the society. Somebody is asking me a question that says, is that how the United Kingdom rehabilitate terrorists and release them into the community? We will find out. I might not have all those information, but I'm sure at the press of a button, we might find out. The focus is Nigeria. The conversation still rely on Yoruba nation and why we should think about the dismantle, the breakup, the disintegration of what is called Nigeria. If not, remember that it's going to be a bumpy ride as we continue to remain Nigerians. Nigeria is still a country as we speak right now, but it's a country full of so many problems. Those problems have been there, created by the West, and they will remain there as long as we refuse to say no to what was created by the West. The West created what we called Nigeria today, and the reason for that creation is nothing more than business. Nigeria is a program, and it will remain so for a very long time if we do not ask for our right to self-determination. Self-determination is not a crime. So let's go through the article quickly. Once again, a very good morning to those of you that have joined the conversation. The headline says, and I quote, 2,168 ex-Boko Haram terrorists graduate from the federal government rehabilitation program. What does that mean? Boko Haram. Remember that these are deadly terrorist organizations. Are they now free after going through this rehabilitation? Should we feel safe? Should we feel secure? Are you concerned as a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that your government have now been able to rehabilitate over 2,168 ex-Boko Haram and they've put them back into the community? What is your take on that? So let's go into the conversation, like I said, and I welcome those of you that have joined. Once again, a very good morning. The time now is just 5 o'clock in the morning, and it is already getting to winter in London, England, or United Kingdom. We are now getting to that time that we need a lot of heating in the house to keep the house very warm, as compared to Nigeria, where you will need the air condition to cool down because of the heat. So it's two different worlds entirely. As we go into the program, I say all the time, I am just playing my role. Everyone has a role to play. I think I need my mouse. Where's my mouse? A good morning once again to those of you that have joined us. No fewer than 2,168 repentant Boko Haram members have graduated from the federal government de-radicalization, rehabilitation, and reintegration DRR program in Gombe State. For the benefit of the non-listeners that are not from Nigeria, Gombe State is a state in Nigeria, one of the 36 states. It was founded on 1st of October 1996. It's one of the 36 states in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So it was formed from part of Bauchi State, Gombe. According to Colonel Abiodun Johnson, the commandant of the DRR camp, the meaning of DRR means de-radicalization, rehabilitation, and reintegration. So 3 words: rehabilitation, de-radicalization, and reintegration. Is it possible to do all these and those terrorists will become a good guy? Colonel Abiodun Johnson, the commandant of the DRR camp, Operation Safe Corridor, stated this on Thursday during a courtesy visit by the Borno Deputy Governor, Usman Kadafu. Mr. Johnson said that the client had passed through various rebuilding programs, and they've also gone through programs and underwent a series of medical screening. Imagine Nigerians doesn't have access to good health care. I mean, I just want you to be taking note of some of these words coming out from these Colonel Abiodun Johnson. Many Nigerians do not have access to good medical treatment, but at least your Boko Haram are being well treated, given medical treatment. Unbelievable. Imagine Nigerians struggle to access health care, but Boko Haram are giving medical screening. How many of you have been able to get medical screening for free in Nigeria? You can put it in the comment section and let me know. How many of you have had access to medical screening? I'm not talking about the one from the NGOs that come to your local government. I'm talking about you getting free medical screening. 2,168 ex-Boko Haram had opportunity to be given what they called medical screening. And if we go back and look at, according to NHS in London, after a Google search, screening is a way of finding out if people have higher chances of having health problems. So you in Nigeria, as a Nigerian, you do not have access to good quality medical treatment or screening. So some of you are carrying all kind of illness that needs to be checked so that you will live a longer life. But because you do not have access to this screening, you've eventually become trapped in what is called the failed medical system in Nigeria. But according to the report from Colonel Abiodun Johnson, the commandant of the DRR, De-Radicalization, Rehabilitation, and Reintegration Program in Gombe State, is telling me to tell you, Nigerians, that these ex-Boko Haram were given free medical screening. In case some of them have tuberculosis, some of them are probably too sick, so they need to make sure that they survive. How many of you have families? Good morning, Akalamago. How many of you have families today that need medical support, but you don't have what it takes to give them that support? How many of you? You can put it in the comment section so you can see what is currently happening in today's Nigeria. So terrorists have access to quality healthcare, while an average Nigerian do not have access to that. And again, what do we understand by screening? There are three types of screening: mass screening, multiple or multiphasic, target, case finding, or opportunist. What are the three examples of health screening? It could be anything from blood pressure, which a lot of you carry along with you on a daily basis, but you don't know because you cannot afford to go and do ifunpa or, BP checkup because it's quite expensive. A lot of you are struggling to eat. So why would you want to go and even check whether you have blood pressure? So one day you will just bang, and at the end of the day, somebody will blame the mother or the innocent father for witchcraft. But you already had too much high blood pressure that should be reduced either through the intake of medication from practitioner, a doctor. But most of you do what they call self-medication. And literally you're killing yourself bit by bit. Self-medication is not something you should practice. Gbogbo àwọn àgbo tẹ́ ń mú yẹn, it might be good, but at the end of the day, you've got to remember that it is not vetted properly. I'm just giving you what medical screening is before we move further into the conversation of the topic this morning, which is 2,168 Boko Haram terrorists have now been rehabilitated. I don't know what you feel about it or what you think, but you can put that in the comment section. They've probably even been checked for bowel cancer screening. We don't know. I mean, imagine terrorists now have more opportunity to be screened for cancer, while many of you will probably not even know that you have cancer. But these 2,168 ex-Boko Haram are already ahead of more than 160 or whatever million Nigerians that need the same medical screening. I don't know whether they have their wives or their girlfriends or some women, because according to the data, it still says 2,168. How many of them are women? I don't know. And how many of them are young female? I don't know. But if we have women among them, they're likely to also get breast screening. I'm sure some of you will love your wife to get a free breast screening in Nigeria today, especially it's quite expensive. So you can see that this country that many of you want us to keep will eventually kill you gradually, because there will never be a good, strong healthcare. Even some of your governors like Akeredolu is so sick, he needs to resign. He can't manage himself, talk less of managing Ondo State anymore. He has performed well, he has done his best, but they are so greedy. They don't want to go. They just want to remain known as governors. I mean, Akeredolu is so weak that he sits in Ibadan and is operating a whole state from Ibadan. That is the kind of system that is currently being played out in Nigeria. I was watching the news breaking out in London, or probably in UK, some few hours ago. The former Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, is going to become a TV presenter in January. I mean, imagine a whole Prime Minister, ex-Prime Minister, is going to become he will be doing exactly what I'm doing now. The only difference is on a bigger platform and with a lot of money. And that is the news that is coming out from Boris himself. So you can tell that you don't have visionary leaders in Nigeria, or you have corrupt leaders that will take you backwards. I mean, when I saw Boris Johnson talking about becoming a presenter, I was in shock, because that is just the normal norm. It's not a big deal. But it's unfortunate that many of you will not understand that the country that you love so much, that you are trying to fight to save, is not going to save you, but is actually saving the Boko Haram. Let's listen to Boris Johnson on this.
Hi folks, Boris Johnson here. I'm excited to say that I'm shortly going to be joining you on GB News, and I'm going to be giving this remarkable new TV channel my unvarnished views on everything from Russia, China, the war.
Which is exactly what I'm doing. But the only difference is I probably not get paid as much as what Boris Johnson will be paid. I don't know what is going to be the deal. He's going to be talking about China, Russia, Ukraine, a lot of different things, just like I am doing as well. I mean, especially as one of the campaigners for Yoruba Nation. But GB News is not going to talk about Nigeria until probably maybe they have any, you know, anything tangible to talk about. Literally, they are not news that will talk about Nigeria. But if there's any kind of breaking news that is very, very important, but they will advise the British citizen not to travel to Nigeria, especially when that is coming from the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. That is the FCO. Especially when the FCO gives an advice that do not travel to Nigeria, this is where GB News, that has reported a 31 million loss in its first year on air on a revenue of 3.6 million pounds. So these are big news network. Media is not cheap, and that is why narratives of what they want to say is not going to be as what you want to hear. So if you're waiting for GB News that Boris Johnson will be joining in the new year to come and tell you about dismantling, disintegration. I mean, imagine, a former prime minister to come and be sitting and telling you what I am explaining to you right now. Look, the world is so busy with so much news that the one coming out of Nigeria will be of no interest to them. So, just to let you know, according to the Company House account for the year 31st of May last year, GB News that Boris Johnson will be one of their presenter in the new year, 2024, is a limited company here in UK, reported advertising revenues of 2.96 million pounds, digital revenue at 564,000 pounds, sponsorship revenue of 105,000 pounds. However, cost of sales stood at 25.4 million pounds. Operating expenses, I'm sure you all know what that means, what they are spending when it comes to operating GB News. Cost 8.9 million pounds, producing a loss both before and after tax of 30 million. So in the nutshell, what they are saying is, yeah, we are making money, but we are losing. You don't know all these people more than we. They make money, but they are still projecting a loss. So when we sit here and we tell you, support the media, some of you do not understand that media controls the narratives of what you will hear and what they don't want you to know. I just put that in the context of the program. I mean, I've given you a breakdown of their revenue, but they are still producing a loss both before and after tax of 30 million. What do you think if I have the same kind of revenue? You can tell the kind of message that will penetrate through Nigeria. So that is why we are saying that Nigeria is not going to allow the kind of message that we are propagating to penetrate the average Nigerians, because the average Nigerian is sleeping now without electricity. The average Nigerian does not even understand why we are saying Yoruba nation now. All they've been told is Nigeria is in the progress of working, and it's going to work at some point. But we know that is a lie, and that is a big lie. You cannot even get a free medical screening. I mean, I've not even moved to the next phase of the conversation. I've only stick to one area and I can expand it for the rest of the 3 hours program if I want to. So when we sit here on a daily basis and we are explaining to you, how do we get to where Boko Haram get medical screening and the average Nigerians do not have the same access? I mean, how do you how do you how do you think that that is a normal society? How do you think? As at this week, less than 72 hours, I still have at least one person that sent me a message that they need support because they are not feeling very well. All they could have done is go to the nearest general hospital to be treated. But this doesn't work like that in the zoo country you call Nigeria. But the same zoo country has so much money that they can give not just medical treatment to the Boko Haram, they are even giving them psychological and physio-spiritual counseling. Many of you need psychological support, especially with the daily basis of what is happening in Nigeria. A lot of what is happening in Nigeria is very traumatic. Very traumatic. I mean, do we talk about the pedophile that sleeps with children? I was listening to, I think, Oriyomi Hamzat yesterday, and I was hearing children got missing, you know, things that you can easily go into a shock is what we are hearing in Nigeria. I mean, a young boy in Port Harcourt stripped a young girl after probably sleeping with her, then eventually killed her and took the private parts. I mean, these are things that many of you need to be given psychology support because the trauma of a lot of things that you guys are listening to will eventually kill you at some point because it's just too much. But probably some of you just have to come off on the social media and forget about the news. But how do you do that, especially those of us outside and those of you inside? The amount of news that comes out of Nigeria could give you a shock if you're not careful. So imagine the Nigerian military has so much money to spend on the medical screening, psychological and physio-spiritual counseling. A lot of you probably need spiritual counseling anyway. This is the Nigeria that we find ourselves today. And when we are here saying to you, can we really continue in this trajectory? Many of you say whatever you want to say. It's unbelievable. They are not just giving medical screening, psychological and physio-spiritual counseling. They are even getting sport therapy. I mean, Boko Haram have become much important than the average Nigerians. So a lot of you that defend Nigeria, you are a one defendant of Nigeria. You defend Nigeria because to you, you are a stakeholder in Nigeria, but Nigeria does not recognize you as a stakeholder. I am giving you a background to 2,168 ex-Boko Haram that have now been let back into the community. Some of them probably living around you. You don't know because they don't have any record of where they are living. They've left Gombe State. They've come to Lagos State. They've gone to Ogun State, Ondo State, Oyo State, Osun State, Ekiti State, Anambra, They're probably even part of those in FCT. So you can see that something is not right in this society that you are calling Nigeria. Something seems to be wrong. But many Nigerians do not want to accept the fact that there is a lot of things that is wrong in this society you call Nigeria. When was the last time you were able to get a sport therapy? I mean, sport therapy. What do we understand by the word sport therapy? According to the Society of Sport Therapists, what is a sport therapy? It utilizes the principles of sport and exercise science, incorporating psychologically, pathologically process to prepare the participant for training. I mean, are they training them to become part of Nigerians athletes? Are they training Boko Haram to participate on our behalf? You can see why some of you will never get a visa abroad, because America is watching all these and they're wondering, how do we know who is a terrorist now among you? I mean, you are not a terrorist because you guys are, I mean, gentlemen and women, young, old. You are just the average Nigerians. But when your government release 2,168 ex-Boko Haram back into the society, they will apply for a Nigerian passport. And at some point, they want to apply for a British visa, American visa. And America is trying to figure out, how do we know that you are not that terrorist that have just participated along the rehabilitation, de-radicalization, and reintegration, according to Colonel Abiodun Johnson, the commandant of the DRR camp, Operation Safe Corridor. So you can tell now that the European countries that are restricting their visa today are doing so because Nigeria is a crime scene. And let's go back and look at the latest current, and I can share this with you in case you want to verify that yourself. According to the FCO in UK is called the the Foreign Commonwealth, that tells the British citizen which country you should think of traveling to, especially many Nigerians that are living in UK will be advised to take a lot of precaution before you travel to Nigeria. I am not here to tell you not to go and visit your loved ones or spend quality time with the loved ones that you have missed, or go and, do buga, or go and tesimoloju, whatever your plan is. My job is not here to discourage you from traveling to Nigeria. But all I can say to you, as you are all preparing in the next 2 months to be traveling to that contraction country, is to be security conscious. Don't trust anyone. You might say, that is my own business. I will use your name to do a full program when it comes to my desk, that you travel to Nigeria and for your stupidity, you get carried away and Nigeria happened to you. I will be here. And for those that went genuinely and wanted to make changes, a very good morning to my grandmother, a mother, Mrs. Comfort Ologunja. Nigeria is a sick country and a state of confusion country without a good governance. And she's also saying good morning to every one of you. I hope you can understand what I'm trying to say. We're talking about Boko Haram that wanting more privilege, they have more opportunity to go through some of what I have mentioned in the last 50 minutes in the broadcast. Today is the 28th day of the month of October. And as October is going, I pray may the Lord be with us, but please take extra precaution if you're going to be traveling to Nigeria for Christmas. I'm begging you. Enjoy, have a good time, be careful with what you eat and what you drink. Don't trust anybody. If you open that drink, you might probably want to get a new one rather than take the same old one. Be very careful. Don't joke with your security as you're planning to go on that long Christmas and the New Year. We are still on the topic that I've put out this morning. And what is the topic? The topic is straightforward. Latest security report from Nigeria. Can this government do anything differently? And the other one says 2,168 ex-Boko Haram terrorists graduate from the federal government rehabilitation program. Does that mean that they are now good citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? And we should accept them back into the society because maybe they were misguided, maybe they were told that that path was good. But what about the average Nigerians that have been dealt with? Probably maybe they've stolen something, maybe they've killed as well, but they are still languishing in the prison. I mean, imagine many Nigerians are still in the prison, even those during the NSAS. But 2,000 criminals have now been released back in the society. I mean, nobody condones a crime, but many of you have born, I've seen Nigerians do jungle justice. Maybe because these ones are well protected. That's why you couldn't lay your hands on them. Who is protecting them? The same military, the same federal government. Protect them, shield them, so that you will not have access to them and burn them alive. But the one that you will meet on the road that have just stolen puff, you put a petrol and you do jungle justice. You can see the mad people everywhere in that contraction zoological country you are still calling a country. I pity a lot of you. So I've given you the background to what screening means. Do you know that I can even test them for cholesterol? Even cervical screen. I don't know what kind of screening they were giving them that is free. But I'm sure in a corrupt country like Nigeria, they will even add the one that they are not going to give them so that they can inflate the price. Only God knows how much each of these terrorists cost the federal government of Nigeria. Are you thinking of what I'm thinking? How much do you think their budget for that 2,000? They are not 2,000, but these are the ones that have just graduated. How much do you think the federal government of Nigeria is spending on this program? Who is chopping the money and who is not chopping the money? Some of you today, whether you are in Nigeria or some of us outside Nigeria, we are all struggling. The current situation outside Nigeria for those diaspora is not funny anymore. We only just give thanks that things are still far, far better than that zoological country called Nigeria. At least we are given opportunity if you're ready to do. People do 12-hour shift. People do 14-hour shift. People do 2 jobs abroad. so that they can be able to survive and then make you to survive for those of you at home. And those of you at home would like to survive as well, but the government would rather spend money on the Boko Haram so that they can reintegrate them. Do you think that they can reintegrate back into the society? You can put that in the comment section. What a very good time to be alive. Let's continue. But before we continue, I want to take you back again to what, and I've just posted that for the benefit of those of you that would like to check that. www.gov.uk/foreign-travel-advice-Nigeria. What are they saying? What is the foreign travel advice to Nigeria as at today? And the last time it was updated was the 6th of October 2023, but still current as at today, 28th of October. So whatever I'm telling you today on these governments, I'm not talking about the zoo country called Nigeria. This is from the UK government. This is for those of you in UK traveling for Christmas, and those of you that are not in UK, you might want to take this advice. And those of you in Nigeria, you're not going anywhere, but just be security conscious, because Etini 2,168 ex-Boko Haram TR Mobitowa Leni. Even though the government say they are now good, they've gone through stages of different things that I'm still going to read to you. Do you trust the government with what they are saying? Even Designy, she'll be back in the court on Monday. Or Bida Kojadi Nunule before 6 o'clock. She can leave the house at 1 minute past 6. Designy Alison Madweke, she's got an electronic tag. And I'll be looking forward to see if I can see that tag on her leg on Monday, God willing. I know she's going to wear trouser, but I'm going to ask her which of the leg, the work fit tag, you see, is it the left or the right? Because on the 2nd of October, Alison Madweke paid £70,000 bill to enable her to leave the court and go back home, but with an electronic tag. I'm asking you, you all, from all the platforms, where is these 2,168 Boko Haram today? Are they still in the north? Keep them there. Don't bring them back to the south. Or are they just boarded a Dangote tipper truck and travel down, and they're probably maybe one of your Okada rider, and one day you just upset one of them, they will stab you and you're dead, and nobody knows how we can find them because there's no fingerprint of any of these individuals. You can see the catalog of problems that we are trapped into should we not allow the dismantle of this union. What you're just doing is we are all keeping the catalog of problems. Some of them we even sleep with our beautiful Yoruba sisters because you don't know that they are Boko. They're not going to tell you that we are Boko Haram. Some of them probably even speak fluent Yoruba than me. How do I know that they are not Boko Haram? You can see the catalog of problems that we are producing for the future to come. They are definitely among the innocent people. You are just the Nigerian that want good Nigeria. But your government have released 2,168 ex-Boko Haram back and say, look, just go and do Christmas with the diaspora that they come. If they upset you, kill them, take their jewelry, take their car. But many of you do not want to agree that that country is dead. But I will be here frequently. I have had a good sleep. I slept before 10 o'clock, just 10:30. I watched just the first half an hour of the BBC News, and just after that, I knock off. And I woke up just before 3 o'clock, doing some other things, preparing myself as usual. And I decided I'm still not feeling sleepy. I can run another few hours and then I go back again to bed. I pity a lot of you. You don't know what is coming. 2,000, these are people that can kill at any point, even without an ammunition. 18, if not 20 Americans died. They've not found the killer in the last 48 hours. Suggestion is even saying maybe he has committed suicide by jumping into the river, but they don't have the body. So as far as we're concerned, we have someone that has either a mental problem. So I'm just giving you the background, not to think that crimes only happen in Nigeria. It happen around the world. Because I know some of you are always like, hey, but are they not killing as well in America? But I know that America have now put more reinforced security to protect the citizens while they are still looking for this criminal guy that killed 20 innocent people. So how do we find these 2,168 when they commit a crime in any of the 774 local government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Báwo la ṣe máa rí wọn? Níbo la fẹ́ wá wọn sí? Do we know whether they are already in Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́? Maybe they are already in Ìjẹ̀bú-Òde. Even maybe they are still talking to the old Boko Haram that they left and say, I want to reintegrate. I will be in this. I mean, we've had cases of cases. I can remind you one, if not last year, a Celestial Church in Ogun State. Remember that the pastor told us that they were changing the outfit, these Boko Haram terrorists, and they will go into the community, they will buy medication, they will buy food, and they will return back again to the forest. So they are living with us. During the night, they become, monster. During the day, they are the Okada rider. And some of you like the Hausa Fulani people that carry you, because the Yoruba ones, you don't like them. So let me give you quickly what the UK is telling me to tell you according to the Foreign Travel Advice. The Foreign and the Commonwealth Development Office, FCDO, advises against, and when I say against, don't go to this state. Stick to the one that you're good with. But don't go to some of these states that I'm going to talk about now. Borno State, Yobe State, Adamawa State. And guess which state again? The same state that has been de-radicalization, reintegration, and also de-radicalization, rehabilitation, and reintegration. The Foreign and Commonwealth says I should tell you, do not travel to Gombe State. Because Gombe is what we're talking about. It's right here in front of me. Kaduna State. Don't go to Buhari State, Katsina, bomb bastard. Buhari, don't go to Katsina State. You can joke with what I'm saying. That is your own cup of tea, not mine. You can laugh even around it. It'll be difficult for any Boko Haram to kidnap me in UK, because I don't think the UK government will allow such, because that would be a breach of security in this country. But those of you at home, abọ̀rọ̀ là ń sọ fọmọlúàbí tó bá dénú ẹ̀ kó You might not agree with all my views, on my campaign for Yoruba Nation. But when it comes to security that I'm giving you, take good care of yourselves. If not, I will be here to say Nigeria happened to him or her. You don't have any businesses in this state that I'm talking about. Don't allow the devaluation of the naira to send you to your debt. And if you're living in those states, just take care of yourself. That's what I can say. Zamfara State. The riverines of Delta, Bayelsa, River, Akwa Ibom, Cross River State. The UK government says, do not travel to some of these states. They also say that the FCDO advises against all but essential. There's what I call essential. Essential means that tó bá jẹ́ pé ó wà important. Tó bá wà important, do those transactions on the phone, send somebody else if you know, so that you can save your life, because some people want to take risk. It's good to take risk in life. But joke with what I'm telling you. I will remind you that 10 innocent Nigerians, we don't even know where they are right now. Remember the NYSC? I've watched release one because I haven't seen any news that says they've been released. I'm talking about the NYSC youth corps that were going to Sokoto State and they got kidnapped. They're from Akwa Ibom. They left their own state that is still not either safe or safe, traveled through the road, they get kidnapped, and the rest is history. So joke with what I'm saying. I will be here to remind the rest of us that are still alive. The FCDO advises against all but essential travel to Bauchi State, Kano State, Jigawa State, Niger State, Sokoto State, Kogi State within 20 kilometers of the border with Niger in Kebbi State, Abia State, non-riverine area of Delta, Bayelsa, and River State, Plateau State, Taraba State, Anambra State. Before you travel, check the entry requirements section for Nigeria current entry restrictions and requirements. These may change with little warning. Monitor this advice for the latest update and stay in contact with your travel provider. All travelers must complete the online Nigeria Health Declaration form before traveling to the zoo. If you plan to pass through any country to return to UK, check the travel advice for the country you are transiting. Around 117,000 British tourists visit Nigeria every year. Very, very low number. Probably half of, if not 1/4 of that, as just diaspora that lives in UK. A proper British will not travel to Nigeria when they can go to other countries and have a great time. Not that they are not coming, but not as much as they will travel to Turkey, that is an Islamic country, but allows them to wear leggings, allows them to smoke on the street, allows them to put on whatever outfit. Nobody comes to the contraction country where you will be restricting them the kind of what they will put on or what they are not going to put on. And that is why tourism in Nigeria is not working. There is no security. So when the FCDO is saying that 117,000 British tourists, remember that when they use the word British, ẹni tó ti gba British passport no will be counted as British. They're not going to see them anymore as, because you know you're a Nigerian because you still carry the Nigerian passport, but the British does not see you anymore as Nigerian because you have now taken the British passport. So when they're using the word the British tourists, they've calculated every Nigerians that have had the privilege or the opportunity to carry that red book. And I pray those of you that are still looking for it, you will get it at the appropriate time. Most visits are trouble-free, but a small number of the British people have encountered problems. my God. Joke with what I'm saying. I know some of you think I don't have job, but those that know that I have a job will take this serious. Joke with this security message, you will find yourself in soup. If the British is saying that even small number, they can't, I mean, I can request under the FOI to know how many people, if I want to. That is the beauty of living in a civilized society. I can request to find out what are the total numbers, and they are obliged to answer me in 20 days for my request. And you want me to come and live in Nigeria where I cannot even request for freedom of information from any of your shit or government? And you think that is a society? A society that you cannot question or ask questions. You cannot question or you cannot answer. You cannot question them and you cannot ask them questions. They become emperor. Your governors think that they are the mini god that we must be licking their ass because they want to serve us. So your expectation is one day a miracle is going to happen and Nigeria will be great. The prayerful country that is still backwards. Because all those prayers are not being answered because a lot of evil goes on in that contraction you call Nigeria. There's just too much evil. And those evil continue to operate because we are never going to be one. And when we say we should allow the peaceful dissolution, some of you come back out and question us. And I just try to figure out that maybe instead of the Nigerian military giving free spiritual counseling, psychological to Boko Haram, maybe they should offer it to many Nigerians. Take you to the nearest psychiatric hospital so that they can assess what is wrong with you. You think somebody is going to come and fight for your own cause or the problem that we are going through all together. Oh, come back home. I am coming back. I will be there by tomorrow. Continue to wait for me while your life is being mortgaged in that shit hole country you call Nigeria that was never a country. Continue to be deceived by all the fake spiritual leaders that knows the truth and nothing but the truth, but they refuse to say and speak out the truth because they change the narratives of what you must hear in all their preaching. A very good morning, Pastor Yodeli Mubarak. Continue to live in denial that whatever we are saying is not the truth. But a lot of you know it's the truth and nothing but the truth. But you are waiting for a bishop or an Anglican to come and tell you that what I am presenting to you on a daily basis is the truth. You are waiting for the GO to come and endorse what I, Olayomi Koiki, is telling you before you believe what I'm saying on a daily basis. May Nigeria not happen to you. A country that you think the legal system will work. Let's listen to Showore in this clip in March this year before the Supreme Court judgment.
A fraudulent, like I was talking about, Labour Party coming together with the PDP and all of that. Are you going to join other political parties to go to court to challenge what you consider a fraudulent election? Or you do not have any faith in the court system, you just protest and allow the matter to rest? What's the way forward?
What you are saying regarding the Labour Party and the PDP is what people like us have always said, that they are the same. We are not part of that coalition or alliance. And with regards to the courts, when somebody steals your thing, you can retrieve it from him and he says no. But you have to wait for the courts to convene. But the court that gave you a governor that was fought in Imo State is not likely to be a court that I will be heading to when I'm cheated on this scale. The court that hasn't delivered justice to people like me since I was born in this country is not the court I can tell you that I have implicit.
Since he was born, he has not got a justice. And everybody's looking for justice for Mohbad because they've turned it into a celebrity fight. Justice for Mohbad. Children never got justice ever since they've been born in that shit or contraction put together by the British in 1914 for their own selfish gain. And the same British will continue to advise us that small number of the British people encounter problems. You should take sensible precaution to protect yourself. Say I'm joking. The British is saying now that you will not be sensible. Ẹlòmíì wá ti dé Nàìjíríà yìí ẹ ti dárálẹ̀. Ẹ ti gbàgbé pé society tẹ́ fi sílẹ̀ yẹn kò ń ṣe the same society tí ẹ ti ń bọ̀. Àbí society tẹ́ wá báyìí ó yàtọ̀ síbi tẹ́ ti ń bọ̀. You automatically let your guard to be loose. Don't trust your drivers. Don't trust your house help. I've seen videos of house help peeing right in the kitchen. That's in a zinc. That's a bastard country. And you think that is a country? So I'm wondering why the military is putting much effort as I go straight, because that is the focus point of the conversation. I'm just adding all this jara around it so that I'll in a minute see, because if I just read all this through, it will be boring. So they're even doing drug abuse counseling. Can you imagine that? Many Nigerians, according to Dr. Kemenu Lawyer, hate her or like her, well read, tells you that a lot of you are using drugs. Mohbad was using drugs. Almost every Nigerian use drugs. Probably few of you are not using drugs. And if you're not using drugs, you are probably living along with people that use drugs. So you are likely to even be affected. That is why in this country, you can no longer smoke in the public building. Tó bá fẹ́ mu sìgá, wà lọ mu sìgá ẹ̀ níta, kó má fi sìgá tiẹ̀ fi ṣàwálé àwa tá a mu sìgá. It was in this country 25 years ago, I go to club and people smoke inside the club. But today now, what people buy that could smoke in the club. Because there's a law that is protecting me from the smoker. I don't have any problem with people that smoke. You do not smoke anymore in the public arena in the UK. You can smoke in the designated area, even up to the airport. Many of you are drug abusers. You're abusing drugs. Gba short kan nísìn, gba short kan long, gba short kan long. Ọlọ́run tẹ̀ wá bá yín ṣe nísìn. inú sachet ló ti ń tà, so that wálé àwọn lórí burúkú organization àwọn company yẹn wọ́n ti mọ̀ pé ẹ̀ lówó lọ́wọ́, àkúṣẹ̀ ní púpọ̀ nù yín. So the only way they can take what little you have is to put all these things inside. I mean, how can they be selling plum tomato in the sachet? Because Nigeria is now a poverty country. Plum tomato tẹ́ kẹ́ ra nínú agolo, kẹ́ lo ìtẹ́ máa lò tán, kẹ́ gbé tó kù sínú fridge so that ẹ̀ tún lè lò níjọ́ kejì. They now started doing sachet of milk. And they're making good revenue. Maybe some of you don't know that. Bí ṣe gbọ́ wọn náà kan ló kọ́kọ́ dá sílẹ̀. Táwọn kan náà fi wọ́n rẹ́rìn pé how can you be selling alcohol in sachet? Immediately they realized that Nigerians were buying that. Every organization today in Nigeria are selling everything in sachet. Ẹ fún mi ní tomato ń bẹ́ yẹn. Mama Honda put tomato kẹ̀. Until they bring out the sachet and they start tearing it, and I'm thinking, what the hell is this country going into? This was even a few years back when I used to travel to Nigeria. I go to the shop, somebody walking and say, sachet of milk. And I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, sachet milk. Because they afford the alagolo. How many of you can afford milk? Tin milk. And you think 4 years this government will turn things around. Shema Jikshan Tinubu. A country that has been destroyed for the last 63 years, and you expect him to be the magician to uphold it and fix it. Fix it on Tinubu wants to fix Nigeria and then hand it over to the northern part of Nigeria. And you think in your common sense that is it not the same northern Nigeria that run the show for 8 years and allow this kind of Boko Haram reintegrated back into the society? Is it not the same? Because Buhari Lonikolo aligning this reintegration. But why are you killing them? Is it not the reason why they killed Tolulope Rotile? Tolulope Rotile was killed because she was the first helicopter combat pilot in the history of the Navy in Nigeria. Yet, a vehicle reversed and killed her. And that is the end of her life. So the British government continued to tell me to tell you, whether you are a British citizen or not, whether you are in Nigeria, just use the common sense. If you think that fàájì tó fẹ́ lọ ṣe yẹn risk ẹ̀ máa ti pọ̀ jù torí o mọ àwọn èèyàn tó lè wà níbẹ̀, sit at home and forget it. Kò ń ṣe gbogbo nǹkan lẹ máa lọ ń ṣe àránjúmọ̀ sí. Wọ́n ń jó lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ ilé ẹ níbẹ̀, ó wá lọ bá wọn jó. Ìwọ mọ̀ bí àwọn court ló wà níbẹ̀. Nígbà tó bá gbébọn síta nísìn tó ń yìnbọn pàpàpàpàpàpà, straight bullet akọ̀bà wọ ni. You are dead. Wàá gbé ẹ dé hospital máa reject ẹ. Kó tó gbé ẹ dé another hospital ti kú. Wàá dẹ̀ sin níjọ́ kejì tó bá jẹ́ Muslim nìyẹn. Tó bá jẹ́ Christian, wàá jù ẹ sínú mortuary tó tutù. I mean, you go to the mortuary, it is not a mortuary because kò ní ice níbẹ̀. Ẹ ṣe lọ ń ra ice láti dà sínú fridge. Bomb bastard country. Is that a country? A country that does not respect ẹni tó wà láyé ló máa respect ẹni tó ti kú. Take a visit and go to mortuary and see how dead bodies are all over the place. Ìbẹ̀ni tó wà láyé, ṣé wọ́n ti tọ́jú ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà láyé? Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà láyé, ṣé wọ́n tọ́jú yín ló máa tọ́jú ẹni tó ti kú? But the Nigerian military has money to give even up to medical screening, given up to, sports therapy, drug abuse counseling. The same Western education program, táwọn olórí burúkú Boko Haram sọ pé àwọn ò fẹ́. The Nigerian government is now telling me that they are even giving Western educational programs. I mean, how did we get to where we cannot question all this? How did we get there? I mean, Boko Haram is, we don't like book, we don't like Western education. The military is now telling me to tell you that they are also giving them Western education. And if you have just joined us, you don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about 2,168 ex-Boko Haram that have now been allowed to live anywhere in Nigeria because they are Nigerian citizens. Whether they were from Niger before, whether they were from any other country that are part of North Nigeria, but since they've gone through these de-radicalization, rehabilitation, reintegration, called the DRR, they've automatically become free to move around in Nigeria. That is what we are discussing on a Saturday, and we have probably just a few more hours, if not less, before the end of the program. So let's move swiftly. And just to recap quickly, this was from Colonel Abiodun Johnson. He's the commandant of the DRR Operation Safe Corridor after the visit by the Borno State Governor on Thursday. Yeah, you're right, my brother. Triple DRS. It's so funny that the military are the ones doing the jobs of the social services. What a country. He said that during the 6-month program, this program ran for 6 months. Some of you will not even have 6-month opportunity if you remain in Nigeria for the rest of your life until you exit Nigeria. You will, I mean, I've seen people gone to university, they cannot even pay the school fees. But the federal government and the military says that 6-month program, they are not calling them Boko Haram anymore. They say declined were trained on vocational skills. I mean, these are terrorists too, but they don't want to call them terrorists. They say the clients. What do they mean by clients? Criminals that have killed many Nigerians are now being called client. The client were trained on vocational skills, including carpentry, cap knitting, shoemaking, tailoring, and electrification. So you are likely to get one of them to work on your project. Ẹ̀yin diaspora then call it Boko Haram máa wà lára àwọn tí ẹ máa gbà tó máa bá yín kọ́lé tó máa rìn pé ilé abroad ló wà tẹ́ bá ti parí ilé yìí ó ń bọ̀ wá bá yín. Somebody said the military is running a parallel government. I pity a lot of Nigerians. You expect your media at home to break it down like this for you? No. They've just write it and everybody's ready. But headline, but I have to now take my time to explain one by one. How many of you would love to have the same program? I mean, why not? If the military can give this kind of services, you might as well just become a terrorist and let them give you the services as well. Because these are good services. This is the kind of services that I'm sure many of you need. I mean, some of you are sick. So if the military give you free medical, is it not good? Drug, vocational skills. Even some of you, telokoshe, etikoshe, graduate, kilefishe. Shentote nino, lofish electrician. And these same people now will become your shoemaker. Elomi, tailor, amaba. I mean, imagine the terrorists. And I like this guinea. Alaji, you go make this guinea for me. Omba terrorists is all. Our word, Alaji, where you they live? They live for Agege. Our joke paidan. Think all this is a joke, but at least the British government tells me to tell you quickly again that sensible precautions to protect your safety. Àsìkò tá wà ní Nàìjíríà nísìn ẹ máa ṣọ́rọ̀ sọ ni kò ń ṣe gbogbo ọ̀rẹ́ yẹn bàbàbàbà because ẹni tó wà lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ tó mọ tí ó ń fetí kọ̀ọ̀kan tẹ̀ ń sọ especially tá a bá ń bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ láti abroad be very careful because wọ́n máa rò pé ẹni tó ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ lówó lọ́wọ́ tó fẹ́ send sí ẹ bí i 10,000 lọ́ fẹ́ send sí ẹ owó tẹ́lẹ̀ máa send ẹ ti send ẹ owó lọ́ ń send kẹ mo ì tí gbà àmọ́ ọmọkùnrin tó dẹ̀ wà lábúròdù kúkú mọ̀ pé bí a palọ̀ ló wà tí wọn náà ti ń pariwo òṣì wọ́n máa send 10,000 àbí 50,000 sẹ́ o ti expanded too much nínú ibi tẹ́ ti ń jẹ pọ̀nmọ́ àti àgbo. This is the time to be very, very careful. Not even even in the eatery. Precaution. Ìgbọràn ó sàn jù kílẹ̀ parí ẹ̀. Máa yín mú sí mi. Kọ́ tó jí èmi gbé níbí bẹ́ẹ̀ ó máa pẹ́. Tọ́ba dẹ̀ ti jí mi gbé British government ti ṣe kí ni ó ti compromise. Máa yín mú. Àwọn ń lo burglary. Mo bá gbé ní ground floor, mo bá gbé ní second floor. We don't use burglary. Ẹ̀yin lẹ́ ń tira yín mọ́nú lé bí cage. Ẹ dẹ̀ máa make sure pé mo bí tí key wà torí pé ìtọ́ bá ṣẹlẹ̀ gbàgà. The end yín nìyẹn nínú ilé. One of the most important thing I hated in Nigeria. Máa sọ fún kọ́mántì burglary. Kí lẹ́yìn ti fún? Lọ́mọ ìkárí kò ṣe dáadáa. Kíkọ́ ṣẹlẹ̀ nísìnyí bọ́lá ti fẹ́ máa wá key tá fi fi jáde. Ẹ máa ti inú ilé, ẹ máa ti sàlẹ̀, ẹ máa ti gbogbo ẹ̀. And the moment there's an accident in the house, báwo lè ṣe fi rí key, especially tó bá tètè wá lọ mú náà lọ. Wọ́n sọ fún ọ nígbà tí mi lọ Nàìjíríà, ẹ má ti burglary, ẹ fi sílẹ̀. Because èmi ò gbé níbi tí a ti ń ti burglary because I know that it's a security safety, but at the end of the day, a gbọ́dọ̀ tún máa wo security inú ilé. Because tí nǹkan kan bá ṣẹlẹ̀, tí fire bá ṣẹlẹ̀ nísìn, ọ̀nà ọ̀dẹ fi gbà jáde. Nígbà tí ẹ bá ti tẹ, ẹ má di sèré sínú ilé ni. Èmi ò ní kẹ́ máa yọ kúrò nínú ilé yín o. Olúkálùkù ni kó wà sensible pẹ̀lú ẹ̀. Problem tí yín ni ẹ kò ṣe problem tèmi. Let's continue quickly. The Niger land borders has been closed and the commercial flight between Nigeria and Niger have been prohibited by the Nigerian authorities in response to the political situation in Niger. Flight times between Nigeria and the other neighboring countries may also be affected. Terrorists, farabalẹ̀ kó gbọ́ bíbá. Terrorists are very likely to try to carry out attacks in Nigeria. You don't have to accept my views in my conversation on Yoruba Nation, but on this security, take precaution. Terrorists, tí wọ́n ti release síta, tọ́ni wọ́n ti de-radicalize wọn, they are now good guys. Wọ́n fún wọn ní sport training, wọ́n fún wọn ní vocational training. Kódà, I'm sure pọ̀ tó máa fún wọn ní owó kó lọ fi bẹ̀rẹ̀ business. Ìwọ wà ń bẹ̀ nísìn, you are looking for ẹlòmíì gbogbo tó wá nísìn kò tó 50,000 naira just to start something. Just to start the basic. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, buy 150 million naira SUV. And the young man, a stupid man, Togbewa, was still able to defend it, even though they don't want to buy locally made, because locally made is rubbish. So if locally made is rubbish, how do you, the average Nigerian, think that Nigeria will survive? Your politicians refuse to buy locally made vehicle. Locally made vehicle, they don't want to buy it. Who should be not that I don't have any other outfit to be wearing, but if I'm doing a live, I want people to know that this is Yoruba Nation talking. I can put on another outfit, Mulewo English, but I try to make sure that I am wearing something that highlights Yoruba Nation. I can put on my full military camouflage. I have a full one from head to top. They are refusing to buy locally made vehicle, because when they were asking that senator, he was saying that it is not yet time to buy locally made because they are durable. This is the same Nigeria that you want me to fix. Your politicians cannot buy locally made car. Even if the car is going to crumble after 6 months, at least patronize them, encourage them, then tell them the fault and say, maybe you should put more into the expansion. Maybe you should change the tire because of our road. You know, our road no good. So the same corrupt politicians cannot buy locally made. They want to buy foreign made. But they are telling you not to eat foreign rice. I saw one woman crying out, calling one of the bloggers. Ẹ wá gbà wá o, ìrẹsì tá à ń rà wọ́n ti fi pa wá o, yéyeyeyeyeyeyeyeyeye bàbá. They don't want you to chop foreign rice. Think about that. A lot of you want to chop because locally made rice, it get too much òkúta. You got, yeah. Ẹ máa yọ òkúta, ẹ má ṣèyàn léṣe léyìn. Àwọn olóṣèlú. Mo ní láti máa lọ́wọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀dù. Orun yẹn ti fẹ́ máa kún mi padà. I'm gonna end the program now. Lórí burúkú ní Nàìjíríà lọ. Àwọn politician ń jẹ foreign stuff. Wọ́n ní kí Nàìjíríà má jẹ foreign. No, you can't. Mo kí Grandma Lé Ajayi. No, you can't eat foreign rice. We're gonna make sure you eat locally made rice. We will make sure it's possible. Buhari and Amosun, they went to build pyramid, fake pyramid. They put rice in the front, behind na sand. And Buhari say, hey, we are now, we are building our own rice empire. We look at all this rice. Don't buy foreign rice anymore. But Buhari and his family and Osibajo, they eat foreign rice. The same senator say, no, we know if you buy innocent motor. We know even if you buy the one where they say that they assemble for Lagos. There's another one called Nod or something like. I saw the young man. I think he's a Yoruba guy. I mean, who should be patronizing Nigeria more than me and you? No, be the same politician. They say no. We don't want locally made vehicle. We want Prado. We want Omar Jeep. We want this where they go bring from abroad because they are durable. Not be where we go start to fix Nigeria be that. Buy locally one, even if it's spoiled, then you can tell them, look, do it like this, don't do it like that. You can see that there's no truth in all these politicians. And that man was in House of Rep before he don't upgrade to senator. And he will continue to make sure that he bribe his way around you constituency where he come from. As election they come, he go make sure say they donate rice, donate gari, donate ewa, yam, pepper, give money. So when election come, say, remember, say, we give you money. Yeah, teka. I saw one guy, he dey cut in PVC, say, weary. So you don't vote because Atiku no come and Peter Obi no come. So if to say Peter Obi come, you no go cut that PVC. What can Peter Obi do in that contraction? Are they not all the same? Shey Peter Obi no be governor of Anambra State. No be Anambra they say make una no visit. He be in Anambra. They play. If you got the man of me on here, look at this guy, they play. They play with your security. Or be alone here. They carry you where you no want to go. Let's complete quickly and we'll start winding down. Terrorists are very likely to try to carry out attacks in Nigeria. See terrorism, most attacks occur in Borno State, Yobe State, Adamawa State in the northeast. There have also been significant attacks in other states, including where Gombe, where we they talk about Gombe definitely because terror is full there, where they reintegrate back into this. As they reintegrate them, they collect government money, they know how to do this, they give them. I mean, imagine these guys probably are getting free medical treatment and they go back into the bush. Beyond country sick, and we surrender. No shoot us, we have surrender. Because they know that they will give them free medical. When they look better, after 6 months, they go back into the bush. That is the Nigeria that you want me to keep. I pity a lot of you. When I finish now, I will make sure I drink cornflakes with fresh milk because that way the sleep will come better. And cornflakes, they use what? Agbado, corn. And they make cornflakes. And I finish now before I go back to bed because it's almost 20 past 6. Then I can sleep for like another 4 hours. Put on my phone for silence. I pity a lot of you. We are concerned for you, for security. But a lot of you are not concerned yourself. So as we're about to wind down quickly, so remember, terrorists are likely to carry out attacks in Nigeria. So those states I'm mentioning are the state that the British is telling me to tell you. Borno State, Yobe State, Adamawa State in the northeast. There have also been significant attacks in other states, including Gombe State, Kano State, Kaduna State, Plateau State, Bauchi State, Taraba State, Kogi State, Niger, and even the Federal Capital Territory called Abuja. Thank you so much, Mr. Theodore. So Nigeria is nothing but funny too about there nothing to fix in Nigeria. And when we say we should support us, it is voluntary. Remember, I've given you the statistics of how much GB News. They make money there. They say that they lose. I don't know how they're making money and losing, but we know that one. So you can support us as well. My first bank account number is 309-680-8848. First Bank, Olayomi Olakunle Koiki. Yeah, every contribution goes a long way. You can also send email through PayPal, and we appreciate every one of you that supports all the time. musakalam1@yahoo.com. It might show you reseller. I'm still the same person. If you're not too sure, reach out to me. And if you want the UK bank account, you can also use our Tide account to support. The sort code is 236972. Account number is 19174311. And it is ethical, okay? Maybe you don't know. I have to remind you all the time. For public to support an independent media of your choice. And it's not a must. You can listen to me. I mean, I've done 2 videos yesterday, over 4,000-5,000 views. If every one of those views was giving me $1, you would have seen more impact of my media work in your state, even in the north. I will have an Hausa presenter. I will have an Igbo presenter, Ishekiri presenter. I will be operating more than CNN. And I will make sure we dismantle Nigeria very, very fast. But when we don't have that kind of source of income, the one I'm doing like this is all I can do for now. But compare that to the GB News. I just gave you their breakdown. If you're watching earlier, if not, you have to rewind back. GB News is where Boris Johnson have told us is going to be working very soon. Only God knows how much Boris Johnson will be paid to work as a presenter. Boris Johnson doesn't need to be saying donate money to me because that organization is the one paying Boris Johnson. Imagine this is a former ex-prime minister of Great Britain. He will be doing presentation like this. He will be talking about everything. It starts in January. So when we say support Koiki Media, we make sure to specifically add it is voluntary. It has nothing to do with Yoruba Nation. It's just to support the media. And that is my own little way for you to contribute to what we are doing. You can say, yeah, because of that is all you do. That's a problem. Media is not cheap. It is expensive. But I will be here as the last man standing to dismantle that shit old country called Nigeria. You can also support through the Kofi. That one also is like a way to support us. Some of you that probably have been sending donation through Cash App have disconnected it because for whatever reason, we don't know, it is just not working anymore. So all those little ways, and if you don't have anything to support us, just pray for me. That's all. So we will send a link to the Kofi as well, and then I will be wrapping this up maximum by 7 o'clock. The program will come to an end. And that way we've done a very good 3 program in a row with 3 different conversations. If you've missed my first 2 programs yesterday, take time and go and watch it. You can donate $1, £1 for every program you watch. It will go a long way. Every time you watch my program, just donate £1. For every of my program you know they watch, donate £1 and see what I can do more when it comes to the campaign of Yoruba Nation or enlightening of Nigerians. You just be donating and let me see how it comes in bulk. There's a newspaper in this country that I read Monday to Friday. It is free. It is called the Metro newspaper. Who do you think is funding it? I can do something similar like that and make sure it goes either in Yoruba language or in English. And we will flood it everywhere in Nigeria. You will see it. But when we don't have the kind of capital to do such, I can only use my router that I pay with my Sky in the house, about £53 I paid every month. I can turn on my device, sit here, and educate you, whether you accept or you don't accept. I have told you, just make sure that you can eat the kind of meal that I'll be posting to tempt you for the next 4 years. Every time I go to my kitchen and I remember, Emilio Konloshiwambe, I go do video and I'll post the food. So that some of you, your taste bud, you saw the one I posted yesterday, the yam and the egg and the corned beef. I don't know, some of you will probably not even know that they're still selling corned beef because it's become very expensive commodity in that shit old country called Nigeria. So as we are almost completing Mokia Easy Dollar, Mokia Tobi Miloma, Mokiba Bakitoye, I'm just going to now read quickly the rest of this article that we are treating tonight, which is 2,168 Boko Haram that are living luxury life more than the average Nigerian. I won't be ayeto da juwolo. So they've given them 6-month program, and they're not calling them terrorists, so they call them clients, so that they don't get upset that they are terrorists. Just call them clients. But you will be average Nigeria. Soldier will see you for road, beat the hell out of you. He said that the 6-month program, the clients were trained on vocational skills, including carpentry, cap knitting, shoemaking, tailoring, and electrification. He explained that all the clients, they're bomb bastard, uncle terrorists and the client, or the package one, or the bawolori one. So they don't want to. So when you are reading this now, you will forget that these are terrorists they're talking about, because when they are saying client, you want a client. Showing you brought to him, I mean, because what they do is they want to take your mind out of the real problem that these are criminals. So they use the word client. They can still call them ex-Boko Haram. But no, they don't want to use that word so that when you don't know the power of the media. If you know the power of the media, what they've done there is not to give you the impression that the people that we are talking about are terrorists. So you can see the argument when some of you keep pointing to the other IPOP that they say they are terrorists, even though the court in Enugu has dismantled that already. Nigeria will be dismantled, but nobody knows when and how soon. It is just a program that needs to be on program. How it is going to happen, I don't know. But my job is to educate you as much as I have the strength to do so. He explained that all the clients also venture into farming in the camp as a compulsory trade, noting that the program was divided into 3 phases. The initial documentation. Which documentation? Which documentation did they talk about? Documentation of people from Niger and Mali and become Nigeria. So they don't document them. Because that's what I can say. Because we know that all these terrorists are not Nigerians. So when they are saying that documentation, what does they mean by that? Oh, are they sending them back to Mali after the training? Or they keep them in Nigeria and make sure that they have Nigerian passport? And you are there trying to get Nigerian passport in Ikoyi. They'll tell you, maybe you should go to Sokoto because it is cheaper to get it from there and it is very quicker. And on your way to Sokoto, because you can't travel by air, you get kidnapped. You can see the danger that we are living with on a daily basis in Nigeria. So according to what we have here, it says, he explained that all the clients also venture into farming in the camp as this is the compulsory trade, noting that the program was divided into 3 phases: the initial documentation, initial medical test, and intelligent profiling. Even NIM, the National Intelligent, I'm sure some of you, I don't know the full meaning of the NIM number, profiling, biometrics, and capturing. So they've given them Nigerian passport. Because in Tobatile, NIM for they have given them a Nigerian passport. So they automatically become a Nigerian. We are also doing categorization to monitor different psychological points of mind of the client. I mean, they are trying to work out, ṣé wọ́n ní ṣe criminal, ṣé wọ́n ní jẹ́ terrorist in the next 6 months, in the next 8 months. All this is happening in Nigeria. They tell me, say, I dey joke, I dey play as well. But don't joke with your security. Which will give us the advantage of knowing the type of psychological first aid they will undergo. We also have the buy-in process where everybody must accept that they will be part of the program, he said. After the program, the client, remember when they say the client, these are Boko Haram terrorists, the client graduate with skills that enable them to become self-reliant. He further explained. The reintegration was done by partners in collaboration with community leaders. We also have a feedback mechanism through our partners to find out what the clients are doing. How did they know which clients have not traveled to another state? But they are getting feedback from the one we don't travel away from Gombe State to another state. So far, the feedback we are receiving is impressive. The Boko Haram are doing very well. They are now good guys. So you don't have to worry, but make sure you use your common sense. He said that the repentant Boko Haram fighters saw an oath of allegiance. Ah, Lord, Nigeria na cruise. Kò ní dá fún gbogbo wọn níbẹ̀ Ọlọ́run. Ah! Olórí burúkú làwọn military. You wey you swear allegiance to Nigeria, wetin Nigeria don do for you. So they are telling you now that these Boko Haram fighters, they've saw an oath of allegiance to Nigerian government before they were released back to their respective society. That is where I want you to take note of. You know, they look me, Abi. You think this is a funny situation? You think it's funny matter? The repercussion will last decades. Intercurrency, the repercussion will last decades. Terrorists swear allegiance to Nigeria, and after that, they were released back to their respective society. So we don't even know where they are right now, and they're still telling you they're getting feedback. And this is all happening in the zoo country called Nigeria. And this is a kind of society you want me to return back and live with you. So terrorists have now got, they swear, You know, it's the same thing like people that swear allegiance to get their British passport. You have to swear allegiance. They just have different categories how you're going to do it. So terrorists is now, they don't swear oath of allegiance to Nigerian government, Bola Tinubu government, because Bola Tinubu now in there now. Buhari don't go, dead or alive. Now, wow. Earlier, Mr. Kadafo said that he was at the DRR, the Radicalization, Reintegration, and Radicalization Camp as part of his familiarization tour to get a first-hand account of the activities of the money we they get from the federal government. In conscience, Nigeria, they didn't tell us how much they spent on all these people now. Billions of naira. The military is one of the most corrupt part of Nigeria. The deputy governor, who doubles as the chairman of the DRR in Borno, said that the state had received over 90,000 ex-militants under this program. We don't dey inside problem. I did talk about 2,000, but I didn't tell you that I've read this article before I started the program. You know it to you, you were like, Koiki, Ilonshe, or no, just 2,000 people. No, they're not 2,000. 90,000 ex-militants have gone through the same program in the last 8 years of the previous administration. 90,000. Wow. That's like another foot soldier back into the society. Legalize them properly after full training of medical, sport, psychological, documentation, Nigerian passport. If anybody asks you where you're from, don't tell them you're from Niger anymore. If you say you're from Niger, they will be asking questions. Don't tell them you're from Mali. Just say, I am a Nigerian, because they have so allegiance. You can see that we are in a big mess. To you, it's not a big mess. But people like us are calculating 90,000, multiply that in the next 8 years. Each one of the 90,000 will give birth to nothing less than 3 children. Multiply those by 90,000. Those are jihadis being prepared for the future. Maybe you don't know. I'm telling you now. Emiko Nemoso, the deputy governor who doubles as the chairman of the DRR in Borno, states that they have received over 90,000 ex-Boko Haram militants under the same program I've been talking about in the last 1 hour, 58 minutes. We are almost 2 hours into the program. So 90,000 of them maybe about 20,000 of them are into the military. The remaining 60,000 circulated across Nigeria. Do you know what we call them in this country? These are sleeper cells. Do you know the meaning of sleeper cells? If you don't know, you can tell me before I go. I can quickly tell you. Talomontankwe is sleeper cells. Sleeper cells are people that will just be there. They can be there for the next 10 years. They can be there for the next 15 years, 4 years. And they are monitoring and they are preparing. Some of you don't know the danger we are in until it will circle us and will be dealt with. These are the jihadis for the future. They've reintegrated them back fully into the society. And we should be concerned because Nigeria doesn't have a strong database to track each one of these 90,000 jihadis. Remember, these are Boko Haram. But they told us that they've reintegrated them, the de-radicalization, they've given them psychological, they've even given them the same Western education that this bastard refused to accept in the first place. And they're all over Nigeria today, just waiting to activate at the appropriate time. Believe it or not, that is your problem, not mine. He also mentioned that the state has been receiving the necessary support from the various agencies and even international partners. While you are struggling to get agency support, I don't know which of the agencies he's talking about, but he says various, that means different one. The one we could give them bag of rice, we could give them this, we could give them that, we could give them donate that. International partners that are also criminals. So they give them something, take something. Give them something, take 3. Give 30, take 50. We therefore came to this tour of your facilities to see how we can replicate what is obtainable in your... So they want to now replicate what is happening in Gombe into Borno State. I hope the new administration will review all these before it is too late. I don't know. We have sponsored our traditional leaders to workshop to Kigali and Somalia and Colombia to have familiarized themselves with the process of rehabilitation of ex-combatants. So even they have so much money that they send their traditional leaders, go to Kigali, stay in the hotel. You be Muslim, no worry, just that woman will come, give her drink alcohol. From there, go to Somalia, go learn what they do there. So go they send their traditional leaders. The visit has yielded a lot of result, as it's stated, to change the perspective of the traditional rulers on how they perceive the program. Remember the word traditional rulers. These are the ones that control the northern part of Nigeria. Not like the southwest where your politician controls our royal fathers. They don't do the same thing in the northern part of Nigeria. That is how far me I can go. I gotta go back to bed. I wish you a great Saturday ahead. My name is Olami Koiki. Many of you probably know me as Koiki Media. This is what I do for a living, to educate you. Don't joke with your security. Wherever you live in Nigeria, review that security again in whatever capacity. It will get worse before it gets better. A very good morning and enjoy the rest of the day. And on that note, I'll leave you with our anthem, and then we call it a day. Do not joke with everything I have said at the early hours of this morning. You can see I took my time to be very, very calm to deliver the message. I am not your spiritual father, neither am I your spiritual mother. I am not your geo. I am just a journalist looking at things from a longer view lens. When I saw this yesterday, I slept over it, and when I woke up, I said, it will be the next program. Kabega, 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 falere, ìgbàgbọ́, bàtì bẹ̀rù, ká ṣiṣẹ́, ká ṣiṣẹ́, ká ṣiṣẹ́, ìṣọ̀kan, ìkẹjẹ, tẹ̀síwájú, ọ̀pọ̀ ire, àtòhun, ọmọdédéwà, bọ́ sí ipò. Àwa ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ gbogbo adúláwọ̀. Àwa ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ gbogbo adúláwọ̀. Ó dàárọ̀. Enjoy the weekend and stay safe wherever you are around the world. Bye for now.